Okay, so in the previous video, we talked about, for the first time, creating kind of, I guess, layers of instrument inside of a multi-instrument. And this is a cool concept to understand about Omnisphere before you get into it. I guess you could call it the hierarchy. And this image that you see on the screen here is taken from the guide, the Omnisphere guide with Spectrasonics. And I think it's a really good one. It very much helps you understand how on earth Omnisphere actually works. And it's something to get your head around before we go ahead. So when you first open up Omnisphere, you get this screen here. But it's obviously, as soon as you click on it, you get into the instrument itself. And this is the interface, which I will explain in due course. So it defaults to the main view here. You see there's tons of buttons. I just want you to focus here for a minute, because this purple bluey kind of main area is what we're thinking about at the moment, not this bit and not this bit. So if we click on A here, right, just so that if you're following along, you can do it as well. What we have, I just want you to look at this section in the middle, right? And this compares with down here, right? Sound source or synth mode. Now we saw that in the previous video where you can use a sound source as the beginning of something or a synth for the beginning of an instrument. And this is the point in Omnisphere where you choose. So if you listen to this, right, this is me just playing the source square fat, which is the standard Omnisphere synth, which loads when you initialize the VST. If I switch over to sample mode, I'm now using a sound source, but I haven't anything loaded, right? So let me just quickly load something here. I'm just going to choose something random and get out. Don't know whether you can hear that, but there's a sound source. So that's a recorded audio file that will be inside the Omnisphere library somewhere on your computer. It won't be being generated real time like the synthesizer here, right, which is being created as I play the key. Okay, so this is our sound source level. This was a bit like basically creating one virtual instrument in Logic in the beginning. So the next higher level in the hierarchy is what we call a layer. And a layer, as you can see here, is made up of two elements, right? A and B. And you can see that here, A and B. So if I move over now, I've got exactly the same window here, but you want to think of it like another instrument. I guess it would be like having two instruments on top of each other and then summing them together, the A layer and the B layer. So this would allow you in just one simple instrument to have a sample, like Adriatic, on one, and on B having a synth, like, right? Now I don't know whether you can hear, but I've got both of them playing in one instrument, okay? So let's take it another level, so let's go up. So all of this, A and B, with all the effects and arpeggiation you don't need to think about at the moment, so the whole of this window with A and B, the two layers of the sound source and synth. I could have done, obviously, two sound sources, or I could have done two synths. It doesn't matter. All of those two things and the settings in here is what's called a part, right? And you can see here there are 8 parts, right? And if we just zoom up here, if you follow my mouse here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when I click onto number 2, all of these change, right? And there's nothing. Actually, what you're hearing is part 1 playing, okay? So if you times that by 8, right, you get so much more. You can actually do this 8 times. So each of those 8 things there, or levels, right, are parts, right? So the whole of that is a part, the whole of that is a part, the whole of that is a part, etc., right? So the hierarchy, you've got sound source or oscillator, right, go into a layer. There are 2 layers in each part, and there are 8 parts, right, as you can see. So let's load something into the next one here. So let's do something. So I've added something else in there. So this is not, I'm not creating great sounds at the moment, but I'm just showing you the principle of like how now I'm playing, if you can see here, both of those are flashing because I set both of them. So that you can actually play them on separate MIDI channels, which you can change by going to the multi. So, but don't worry about that for now, we'll do that later. So what this then sums up to, right, sound source or synth into a layer, into another layer, which creates a part into potentially 8 parts, right? That creates one multi, and it's better to think of Omnisphere as a full multi-instrument with all these 8 layers. To be honest, day to day, I only use 1, maybe 2 parts, right? It's only for, you know, a very specific style of performing, or you know, atmospheric creation or sound design that you might want to use more, or arpeggiated stuff. But the potential's there, and that's what makes it an incredible instrument to use. So hopefully that's a quick overview video that can give you an idea of the hierarchy of the instruments. In the next video, what we're going to be doing is going over the basics of the interface, what on earth this header is, and how the part page works. We won't be going to editing, but we'll look a little bit about the browser and stuff like that. So anyway, see you in the next one.